Welcome to HBCU Delaware Talks. HBCUs matter, Black lives matter, all lives matter. Thank you this evening for allowing me, us, we to come into your living room to talk to you about some of the historic Black college information and what's going on in the city and our community and how we can perfect what we do to make life better for Wilmingtonians, for Delawareans, for the country. As always, before I really go into the show, I have to say a prayer because sometimes I never know what I may say. So, Father God, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for this day that you have made. I thank you for allowing me, us, we, to rejoice and be glad in it. God, thank you for the traveling mercies and bless those with traveling mercies who are on their way, Father. Father God, thank you for giving us a hedge of protection. Continue to give us a hedge of protection. Continue to give the city of Wilmington a hedge of protection in Jesus' holy name. Thank you, Father God, for the guests, because they always have good things to talk about. Now, Father, I ask you right now, in the name of Jesus, to order my tongue to say things that will be acceptable by you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Amen. How are you? And again, welcome to HBCU Delaware Talks. Historically Black colleges and universities has been founded years and years ago, and it appears that we have taken advantage of it, but we're not taking advantage of the historically Black college and university concept as we should. We really need more people to reach out to historically Black colleges and universities. We need people who have graduated from historically Black colleges and universities to reach back in and mentor kids. Wilmington, we need you. HBCUs, we need you. We have to make this work by any means necessary in spite of how we feel about each other. We often and always work in silos where we should begin to work together for the good of the cause. And it seems like right now, if any time, we have to work together hard so that our children, your children, can be successful and have just the quality of life that they may need. Well, enough of me. I have a great guest on here who's running for office. I just met this brother maybe this past year, and he's doing some great things in Wilmington. And I just wanted to introduce him to you, to the city of Wilmington, and just to talk about some of the things and what he's doing. Thank you for this show. Okay, I have a young man by the name of Mr. Emmanuel Magruder. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, sir?
How are you?
How's everything?
What's going on with you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing, and what you're going to do to enhance success throughout our community.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for allowing me to come on your show, Mr. Washington. I am Khalif Emmanuel Magruder. I do utilize Emmanuel Magruder more, but I'm running for city council at large here in this great city. I moved to Wilmington, about 4 years ago, and I couldn't understand what brought me here, but now I do have a better understanding that God brought me here. I bought my house here. I started my family here. My beautiful wife and and then I have a little one who's 1 year old.
Awesome.
And I'm in the banking by profession. But as a young man who has experienced a lot of the things that are going on with our youth here in the city of Wilmington, I do have an understanding of what it means to not only become a product of the circumstances that were put in front of you, but through the grace of God, I've overcome the circumstances that were placed in front of me. And I do think that that is very important that people know that about me.
Sure.
I come from a family that was broken. I come from a family of a mother who had an addiction to a substance like crack. I come from a child that has been adjudicated, and I come from a system that I was in the foster care system. But through everything, I got out of it. And I want to be the light to people to show them that no matter what you're put in front of, you can fight your way out of it. So just like me running for office here in the great city of Wilmington, I've spoken to some people and I let God lead me, and I understand that if I win, something big will come out of it.
Awesome.
If I don't win, something big is still going to come out of it. My thing is I have a passion for people that is beyond measure. We can't allow for the same old thing to happen over and over and over again. And people will look at me and say, well, you're not from here, you know. But sometimes, in order for you to be ready for change, you have to be willing to go against the grain for the change
Sure.
that you want to see. And that's all I want. I want the opportunity to fight for people that don't have a voice. I want to be, you know, people say, well, what's your platform? How can you have a platform as an individual when your only goal is to be a part of a body of individuals to move everything forward? You know, enough is enough of personal agendas being put at the forefront and then the community suffering for it.
Sure.
I want to be a part of the young people that have a vision. I want to come together and understand that you're intelligent, I'm intelligent, and everybody around us is intelligent, and we all have great ideas. So why we can't all use the simple math equation that if we all work together, we can move everything forward. So with that being said, I can't sit back and complain about something I'm not willing to fight for.
Sure.
So that's the most important reason why I'm running for office. I don't have a personal agenda. No, I'm not from here. But that doesn't stop me from loving this great city just like anybody else does that does live here. I live on the 600 block of Jefferson Street,
Sure.
where things happen, you know. But I can't be that individual that gives up on our youth because that youth was me. I was told in 5th grade that I was going to be in jail. I was, you know, and I led a life of craziness, you know, and for a long time I didn't, you know, I got up and I fell again. I got up and I fell again. But again, through the grace of God, I am who I am today, and I changed my entire life. And I just want to be that voice for our youth.
Sure.
You know, I want to be that voice for, you know, the people that are voiceless.
Okay.
You know, so
Let
that's
me
why.
ask you, so you say your platform. What is your platform, or you say that there?
My platform.
If you were
so
to
my,
use one.
If my platform is to reintroduce a culture of love and kindness and to be and unification here in this city.
Good.
I believe that is the biggest thing that's lacking. I believe that if we begin to love, if we begin to show kindness, if we begin to unify, then we can hit on some of the bigger issues that we have, which are the education system that is, you know, doing a disservice to our youth, and then people are losing hope. You know, and when you lose hope, then nothing else matters. You know, look at, you know, everything that's going on in the world today, whether it be the police brutality, whether it be the black on black crime, as people
Sure.
like to say, but people are killing people just in general. But that in itself is a sad thing.
Sure.
And love is something that we are.
Yeah.
Hate is something that we learn. And I believe that because we've learned this, we have to unlearn it and begin to relearn what it means to love again.
Awesome.
You know, that's important. So that's my platform. My platform is a passion for people to do whatever it takes and to be the voice for the people. And I have an understanding that I'm not running for city council, and I'm not trying to, you know, catapult myself
Sure.
to a position to where it's about Emmanuel Magruder. It's about my family. It's about the people in the city of Wilmington, to have people that truly, truly care. And until we begin to understand that and stop electing people on the backs of, because they have popularity and economical great status, the question is, people say they want change.
Sure.
But what are you willing to do to get that change? Are you willing to go against the grain to obtain the change that you want to see? Are you really ready to go against the norm? You know, I started off and I was running as a Democrat, and if most people understand, now I'm running as an independent. I understand that there are good Democrats, there are bad Democrats, there are good Republicans,
Sure.
there are bad Republicans. I have values that I understand that I can be in the middle, and I understand that everything that I'm doing is just for people. It's just to make people's lives better. I don't care about the rhetoric of, you know, what it means to be a Democrat or what it means to be I don't, you know, all that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is changing the city of Wilmington, to make the city of Wilmington better, to make the lives of the young people better, to make the lives of the, I don't want to say old people, the more mature individuals,
Sure.
to make people begin to regain hope. to begin to help people to believe in one another, because the city is great. The city has so much great potential. I come from the city of Philadelphia, a big city, and there's great potential. But this city has so much potential, and it's not big. There's no reason and no excuse for some of the things that's taking place here. So the question is, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah, hey, well said. I can't even say anything to that other than same idea, you know, as running independence, fine. My version of independent is in God, depending on the word, bottom line. And God, he's changing the order. You know, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, purple, orange, green. He's just changing the order for people who have really good hearts. And I'm gonna be honest, because love is in the heart. We have to really think that everyone has love in their heart, and it's some of the things that has happened in their life, which changes love to sometimes malice, where people don't feel good and feel worthless, and we know there's worthy and worthless. So we want you to feel worthy, and we want people to begin to see that. And I think you do well. And I'm glad that you're on an independent team. A lot of people, because of the machine, you know, it's a machine design, but there's a lot of people that's in that machine design not understanding that they're individuals, and they don't get an opportunity to be included simply because of the machine, the dynamics of the machine. So I think that's good, stepping out on faith. That's what I'm saying. It is stepping out on faith to change the party from a Democratic and run as an independent. I don't even care what you run as. You're running and you're positive impact in the lives of children, and I think in the lives of our city and community, and I think that's more important than a party. It's a party for real, and every time there's a party, there's a fight.
Indeed.
So when you're independent, you're not really fighting, but you're trying to increase love and do the right thing in the community. I get it.
But see, what people need to understand, as a young person that was born against my back against the wall,
Sure.
my entire life has been a fight. So anytime that you give me something, it's not worth it. But when I have to fight for it, it means more, and I hold on to it. And one thing that I'm willing to do is fight for people.
Awesome.
That's what makes this a whole different type of meaning for me. My heart is for people, and that's all that that's all that matters to me. I said a thing when I was 11 years old, and I'll never forget it. I wanted to make millions of dollars to help millions of people. I'll live a comfortable life,
Sure.
but to make sure that other people have, and to make sure that people don't go without, there's something greater beyond that. And I was saying that when I didn't have anything. I was saying that when I was running home from school to take care of kids. Those are the things that I was saying then. So now that God has allowed for me to be in a position where I have an opportunity to be the voice,
Sure.
I have to grab a hold of it, and I have to hold it, and because it's something that's not taken lightly. That's why I say, if and when I do get elected,
Sure.
I'm ready to get right to work. If I do not get elected, I'm not going to stop being involved in the community.
Awesome.
I'm not willing to sacrifice another child to the violences that's going on. I'm not willing to sacrifice somebody else going without food on their table.
Sure.
It's not willing, that's what I want. That's what I care about. And until we get to that point where we begin to care about people more than putting ourselves on that platform, when we begin to care more about that, then that's when we'll start to see a shift happen. That's when we'll start to begin to see the community becoming as a whole again.
Awesome. And with that being said, we're going to bring some other guests on to kind of talk more inclusive about the idea. And it doesn't have to be politics, because we're not politicking. We're just talking about concerns. We're talking about the greater he in me, the greater he in you.
Yes.
That's greater than he who is in the world.
Yes.
And we have to begin to really see the greater he.
Indeed.
See, a lot of times perception, we were trained to see with our eyes, and we were trained to hear with our ears. But we wasn't trained to hear with our eyes, and we wasn't trained to see with our ears. For example, if you see a house that's burning, glycerin burning, it's burning up, and it looks the fire, you can see it all outside, but inside that house is black, it's dark, you can't see anything. So you have to see with your ears, you know what I mean? So that's where the faith come out here and hearing the word. So I'm going to go to a commercial or a break and bring some other guests on so that we can talk more in detail about our community and what we can do and some of the ideas that we can share. Be right back. Welcome back to the show. Again, thank you for allowing me, us, we, to be in your living room to talk about some of the things that more or less plague our city, some of the things that we can do to enhance or increase growth in our city, especially for our youth, especially for our seniors, especially for us. So I'd like to welcome to the show Brother Namdi, Sister DeZera, Brother Sheldon. You already met Brother Magruder. So welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, sir, thank you. Doing well.
Good, good. It's a reason as to why this has happened, and I appreciate you all taking time out to come on TV to talk about some of the things that you're doing in the area, to talk about what you do, because what you do speaks volumes. And I don't know that everyone knows about what it is that you do. They know about the Twin Poets, but they don't know how embedded in the system or in the city, in the community. And I really appreciate you, and I thank you for that. I thank you. You're a student, so you know we love you. So we got to do everything by any means necessary to see that you're successful. Thank you, Sheldon, for coming on the show, brother. Right. And you're a black man working at the University of Delaware. We want to talk about these things and what it's like for you daily. So it's not an interview. We're just having a little conversation. But I asked, like, you're at the Interfaith
Correct.
Housing. What is Interfaith Housing? What is that all about?
Interfaith Housing is a community housing organization, and so everything from rehabbing homes to turning homes over, part of the creative district as well. Mm-hmm. And it's not just about building homes, as many know that used to be community housing, then it merged with interfaith community housing, so it became interfaith community housing many years ago. So it's not just about building homes, but also about building communities. So the work that I do there, along with Ms. Karen Turner, we are the community engagement specialist there. We're community building and organizing is what it's officially called. And we work to build the community. So it's not just about building houses, but helping people to build communities so that them homes truly have value, mm-hmm. and not just for the person who lives in them, but for the whole entire community, ultimately for our city.
I think that like you said, when homes have value, the people that live in the homes begin to have value.
Absolutely.
And if they're living in a house that's less valued, they act accordingly to that system. And it's a system that's plaguing Wilmington.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of places outside of Wilmington that look really good, but in Wilmington we have different pockets where there's struggle, and we have to do something about it collectively, where we can just make this better place to live. Let me ask you, say your name. DeZera. What is it like for you? Where do you go to school, first of all?
I attend Christiana High School.
Okay. What grade are you in?
I'm going to the 10th.
You're going to the 10th? Let me ask you, because you never experienced segregation, you only really experienced deseg. But let me ask you, what is it like for you daily living in Wilmington and having to catch the bus out to Christiana High School every morning? Because I know sometimes it's dark.
Well, going into something like that, which was recently a problem for me, because mm-hmm. recently, due to my school being in Newark and having to catch the bus in the city, my bus wouldn't come sometimes. If it did come, it would come hours late. We would miss first and second block because I live in the city. But I know a lot of people who live in Newark, but if their bus doesn't come, they send a bus straight away. Mm-hmm. There's no way they're missing first and second block. Mm-hmm. But yet we're targeted with basically, you missed this block. Oh, you have a tardy, this many tardies, but really it was my bus that never came. So
wow.
It's like they want us to go to Christiana High School. We're forced to go to Christiana High School, but yet they don't give us the same treatment as the people that live out Newark or the people that.
Wow. I find that to be interesting, and yeah, because you know, it's like you don't have control of a situation, and you're being punished for a situation
exactly.
that you don't have control for, and again, that's not only happening to you, that's happening to a lot of students.
Absolutely.
And we teachers, we have to be more sensitive to the need and to what's happening. And sometimes teachers, and I speak for all of us, that's why I said we need sensitivity training when it comes down to inner city kids, when it comes down to disparities in our youth. We definitely need to be sensitive. Just like they say police need sensitivity training, we need it as well.
Sure.
Because how do we really fault you for something that's not controlled by you? And then sometimes I can imagine you even riding the bus. Sometimes you're on a bus with kids that are not interested in learning because they feeling worthless.
And so what they would do was they would come 2 hours late and expect people to wait on a bus stop, and it's freezing.
It's deliberate, you know, almost in essence, you know, and it promotes that sense of creating barriers. We know the dropout rate within our city,
Sure.
and we know this is just a deliberate distraction. It's something else they have to go over. Thankfully, the students who are willing and dedicated enough to their education to fight through that, to get on the bus 2 hours late, and hopefully they're being praised as this young lady with her resiliency. But
Sure.
so many aren't, and so many are turning around, going right back home, and no one's saying anything, unfortunately, and we know where that leads. So
Right.
these are the hidden struggles, the hidden inequities that are because of this 4-district model, and that it's been heaped upon our city. So we can start here talking about Christiana, but we can say the same thing about this district, that district,
Sure.
all of
Sure.
them. So these are issues, and the fact that the city of Wilmington doesn't have a voice to address these issues, that's the biggest concern. That's the biggest problem.
How do let me ask you, Sheldon Magruder, you all can come in anytime. How do we get the voice to address these issues, these actions that occur to our youth, our babies?
Well, number one, I wanted to say thanks for having me on the show.
Sure.
And you're doing a great job
Thank you.
with the HBCU organization and program that you're running, and there needs to be more like it. It's definitely a program that's worthy of our dollars and our
Oh, yeah.
contributions. So I wanted to put that forward. And going forward from there, 5 things come to mind when I think about our city and our youth and the things that we need, and hopefully the next mayor will bring these 5 things into consideration.
Sure.
And to the table once they take office.
Sure.
The first thing, quality of life. We've been speaking about quality of life. The next thing is public safety, followed by education for our young people and for our young adults.
Sure.
Matter of fact, across the board. I mean, education is one of those areas that you can never have too much of, because it just continues to help us blossom into the people that we are supposed to be.
Sure. Sure.
After education, I wanted to bring inclusion in as number 2. So it was quality of life and then inclusion, because we all need to be included in the process,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, as far as our life, our living, and our city.
Sure.
And then the 5th point that I wanted to bring up was economic development. Through economic development, we move our city forward, we put our young people to work, and we make Wilmington a better city that people will come and spend their dollars. I think that's one of the key points to our economic situation in Wilmington. We don't have an attraction, I think, that brings people to Wilmington on a consistent basis, even every day. I mean, I know we have the African American Museum downtown, a worthy place to go and visit.
Sure.
But we need more like that, so that downtown city of Wilmington, Market Street, always has 1,000 people walking the street
Sure.
every day, you know, purchasing goods and services from the shops that are in that area, in the downtown area, all around the city. So that's the kind of thinking, that's the kind of leadership that I hope the next mayor brings.
Let me, and I get it. Education is the field that makes all other fields possible. You agree?
Absolutely.
So it's very important to me for our kids, you know. I mean, because during the times I was coming up, I was born in the '60s. That's where there's a lot of gray up there. So, but during my time, it was totally different than growing up today. You know, I could walk from Clayton Street across town without having to worry about a gunshot, without worrying about getting in a fight. And if we had a fight, we would fight, but we would go fist and cuff. It wasn't no shooting. So I pray for our youth often and always, because I know how hard it is to be a youth today, and for especially in the schools. And I really, it's not sitting well with me right now that you're going to school 2 hours late because of the bus situation, and you're being penalized for that. You know, yes, sir.
So
just want to tie into something really fast. It's sad to say that people do not understand the importance of votes. If different communities, they tie everything into this. Education, if people vote here, then they get money from these, the state offices. The more people that vote, and if they see it because they feel like they have to do something, they have to give. And it's sad to say that our young people in the lower income areas and in the black communities are being subject to having to pay the penalty. They don't have an opportunity to vote, right? I feel like that if the education system is tainted, right, and we say we're talking about the violence and everything that's taking place, and the first thing that people will say is we need more jobs, right? If an individual is not educated or does not have a specific skill set, you can bring 1 million jobs. If they don't have the education, the ability to perform, you hire them and then they get fired because they can't perform. If we begin to bring back and develop opportunities for people to learn more, whether that be, and then the parents, we can blame anybody, but the question is, who's going to hold themselves accountable? If a parent, we want them to teach the children, or we want them, but a lot of times they don't know what's going on. They don't know the curriculum that's being taught to their kids. Why don't we have more volunteer opportunities for the parents to come in and sit in the classroom? You don't have to judge them, and that's a way for them to come into the classroom and they're helping out in the classroom, but they're also learning exactly what it is that their children are doing. So that therefore, now I can go and I can help my kid.
And Mr. Washington, you got a solution for that. I remember you talking a little bit about.
Sure, we can always, like I said, first of all, sensitivity for our kids, but we can always dip into the district and pull teachers out to operate and run programs. We could do that. I'm concerned right now about this problem that's occurring with the buses and getting back and forth to school, and also the area in which your building is in. What's going on in that area at the Interfaith Housing on 7th Street, on where you set up? It's always like a party going on, and what's the feel in that area as opposed to the city of Wilmington? Because
we have areas of need. I mean, anyone who knows anything about the history of West Center City, it's been a history. I mean, going all the way back before '95, before urban homesteading. I mean, it's a history before the riots and up till today. I mean, if you think about the number of vacant properties throughout West Center City, not only I could say vacants, the properties that are owned by a few property owners, the huge lofty amount of rental properties within the area, small amount of home ownership. It creates a different dynamic, and the dynamic in West Center City is very, it has a similarity to other areas of need within the city, but it's also very distinct. And a lot of the issues, no other community other than West Center City, in our city, as far as the African American community, were ripped in half. Was what happened to West Center City with 95 coming through there and totally divided us. And we've never been able to regain that foothold. West Center City, if you go to any city, you go to Philadelphia and you go to the property closest to the downtown, that's the most valuable property. And everybody wants to live there so they can walk to work. But yet in our city, it's the reverse opposite. And tell me why that allowed to happen. I spent my whole life in Riverside, and I knew the dynamics of that community. I know we had, areas here, areas there. We had a few different drug spots here, and in West Center City. How was this allowed to happen here? Where 24 hours a day, this traffic comes through here. I sit in my window some days and I see student tags from University of Delaware parking in parking lots and doing what they do. So you can't tell me that this isn't known, because it's so blatant, and we just haven't put forth the effort to really address it.
That's interesting you said it. Do you think, and anybody can chime in on that maybe let's not pay that area any attention, and maybe, just maybe, it'll break down and people start moving out so we can then build it up
Well,
and change to.
That's definitely a mindset of
So we was
something.
little.
Yeah,
since
that's how you get
I was a
into
child the
places
first time I heard
cheaply.
that. So I mean that I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, that's fine.
I was a child the first time. We lived on West Fifth Street,
Sure.
and they used to say the same thing when I was little, that this is what was going to happen around here. That,
Wow.
that we were going to. So it's nothing new.
Okay, what do we do? Coming from a mind right now that's in school that's dealing with all of this. You all deal with a lot. We didn't have to deal with what you deal with today. So let me ask you from your perspective, being a student, and then I have another question to you about HBCUs at Christiana High School if they even
Okay.
promote them. But for you, what do you think? What can we do, this city, as a youth, and you're involved in the education system right now? What do you think that the city should do? I'm asking you because I really need to hear this from a student.
As a city, what can y'all do to help us move in our education?
Education, lifestyle, how you live, to change some of this violence, to make life really good for you.
Personally, I feel like growing up on West Side, West Center City,
Sure.
all my life, it's always been the same thing. It's just now that I'm in high school, I'm starting to see it more, understand it more. And what I realize is with my bus drivers, my teachers, some understand, some don't. Some of my bus drivers believe that some of us don't want to go to school. So when they say they come in 2 hours late, but I gotta call you to ask, and y'all tell me that you're coming 2 hours late, I could have been sitting on this bus stop for 2 hours before I would have been told. Wow. And that's because I want to go to school.
Right.
I'm going to take the time out and call. But other kids that I know, they don't. What if you don't have a phone? What if you can't afford a phone? So I guess you don't know that the bus is coming 2 hours late. And my bus stop is literally right around the corner from Interfaith Housing.
Sure.
It's been times where I sat on that bus stop and actually it was shootings a block away on the next corner. And me being so stunned, I thought they was firecrackers. So the simple fact that somebody else had to run to make me run because I didn't even realize it was gunshots is like, but I was waiting for my bus because it was coming 2 hours late.
Wow.
So now I got the chance to run, leave my bus stop, go home, and not go to school that day, get penalized because my bus was, of course, 2 hours late. Now I'm missing a day. Or I can sit on a corner where I just heard gunshots and, I don't know, maybe risk getting hit or...
Wow. See, and this is what I'm saying, and we're not talking politics, but politicians, I need for you to get out of policies because we need unity in our community, and this is a primary example that we need our youth to be successful, and there's no way that you should have to deal with that to go to school. You should just be waking up, eating your cereal, getting on a bus, going to school, and making honor roll. You don't have, you're dealing with too many obstacles, but I thank God for you because it shows that you have perseverance, you know. But you, and there's other kids that may not have the same perseverance.
It's been times
And-
where I've waited on a bus stop
Wow.
for 2 hours. When the bus finally came, 1 or 2 people was on the bus. Whole bus full of people not on the bus.
Oh, that's
Whole 2 people on a big yellow bus.
What are we going to do? Can you put the telephone number up just in case anyone wants to call in? Can you put the phone number up on the screen, Abed, if you can? Because this is a serious matter, and it's going to happen in August and September. It's going to start all over again. How do we change it?
Well, I'll say the way in which we are up in arms about the violence as we should be, we should have been up in arms about education a long time ago, because just as many as our children are being murdered and killed in the streets, just as many are being murdered and killed in this school system,
Sure.
and then being led to the streets, being led to the graveyards, led to the prisons because of the education that they are not receiving, that we pay for every single day and they do not receive. And that balance and about how we begin to advocate for our city, we have to. You know, you and I spoke, and you mentioned your leaving from Wilmington High School, then going to McKean. I remember my first couple years in the Wilmington School District, and how that gave me an upbringing and a sense of who I was and the purpose of education.
Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Praise God.
Thank you.
Praise God, man.
Praise God. Praise Him. Yes. You have a question? Oh, right on. Turn your TV down, please. Keep it moving. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that point about
Sure.
that, what the Wilmington school district gave us, that sense of we belong, and this was ours. You know, every teacher made me feel like every brick of that school was put there just for me at Martin Luther King School. And then when I went to that first year, going in third grade, going out to Red Clay, out to Heritage, I felt like I was, you know, a duck on you know, a duck in the middle of a beaver ranch or something. I was just out of place, and that was then. So I
Right.
can only imagine what they feel now. They don't want our children in their schools. We that's the fact that we don't want to address, that we leave like this is somebody else's concern. We have to begin to stand up and advocate for our children. Your alma mater, Wilmington High School, where you should have graduated from,
Yes.
is now the school where majority of our children can't even go there, that we pay taxes for every single day for a private elite school for children who aren't from the city of Wilmington. Can we explain that? How do that's what happened to the education system.
Wow.
You think about our voice and about what we had, we lost so much, and then we look at our children like they the problem. No, our babies need us. Our babies need the education. Our babies need to feel that galvanizing spirit of
right.
being able to say, I'm from Wilmington. I play for Wilmington High School.
Yeah.
They need that. I play for P.S. DuPont. I'm
Yeah.
a dynamite. That's what our children need. They need that sense of belonging and that pride that comes with being in your community, not being bused 20 miles, 16 miles away somewhere else,
Yeah.
and then being divided, all of our children divided. We create this division, and we allow them to create and perpetuate this division between our children. This side and that side. Our children are all from Wilmington.
Yeah.
They're all from Wilmington. It doesn't make any sense. And they're destroying our community and our city along with this so-called education that our children are receiving.
And
I was a part of the DSEG
Sure.
action back in my time, and for me, perhaps I was one of the few that did okay in spite of it all. I went to Mount Pleasant for the 9th and the 10th grade. I went to Dickinson for the 11th and the 12th. It was difficult. I mean, just like the councilman was speaking about, I should have been at a school. I should have been probably at P.S. DuPont.
yeah, you should have. So the bus y'all's tail.
Yeah, I should have been there, but it didn't work out that way. I ended up at another school, but opportunities came. We have to make the best of the opportunities that we have, and that was my position. The position that I was in was to make the best of that opportunity, and I had family that supported me and guided me and directed me. And once again, like the councilman was saying, families have to be families. Families have to start eating dinner together.
Oh yeah.
You know, families have to start praying together. Families have to sit and do homework together. Families have to sit and just talk together. I mean, at 8 o'clock, you could probably go up and down my block and ask parents, where is your kid at 8 o'clock at night? And they probably couldn't tell you. Today.
Yeah.
Today.
Because I know we used to get you could be at the park, and as soon as the lights come on,
You better
they're
be-
calling you. So you already know.
You better be excited.
And those were the good days. We have to go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just sitting here thinking, and now we're talking about the gangs and stuff that's in Wilmington.
Oh my God.
And all of this type of stuff, and we blame the families and this, that, and the third. But when we look at the segregation that's going on, the things that are going on in our school systems with these kids, like you said, being bused from 20 miles out, when they come back, they don't know each other, number one, right? And then you create these pockets of kids that are now going to battle with each other over foolishness, number one. But just as much as that it's blamed on the parents and the families, we need to blame it on the systems that have created an opportunity to make our kids go to all of these different schools and not be implanted with each other, because you live down the street from, so y'all should probably be going to the same school as each other. But now you go to school 20 miles out, you may go to school 10 miles out. When you come back, you guys don't know each other really. You just see each other and keep it moving.
So and I get it, like you said, the system has created this monster.
Yes.
Okay, now we know it's there. How are we going to change that? See, because how? Go ahead.
Well, actually, I want to go on to something about that. Growing up in West Center City and going to Christiana, a school in Newark, where Newark kids go.
Sure.
I guess I could say I feel like a duck in a beaver's nest or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But really for me, as a person, it's kind of made me want to do harder. Everybody's talking about what goes on in Newark, what goes on, how they having to play at school. I'm like, oh, I can't go to the place in Newark. I live in Wilmington. That's going to be a 30-minute ride. If I might not be able to get that ride to come. So I can't participate in most after-school sports if they don't have a bus home. Sometimes they have one, sometimes they don't.
Wow.
And with some kids, if you're not like me and you go to this school where I'm the only person from Wilmington in this honors program that I'm in, and so when I come late, I'm the only person coming late. Everybody else been in there the whole hour that I done missed. So now I don't know as much as they do because I'm coming an hour late. And so for other kids that's not in the classes I'm in, they're coming late to regular classes with other Newark kids.
So basically, so sometimes, you know, with the systems, if the employer appreciates the employee does a better job at appreciating community. So with the bus situation for the school districts, I don't know that they're being paid a whole lot of money, but I just know that I hear a lot of bus drivers complaining about the behaviors on the bus, and then they talk about the areas in which they go to.
It's a mutual feeling
Is it
because
really?
sometimes
Okay.
bus drivers, it's like they hire bus drivers off of anywhere. Anybody can be a bus driver.
Especially
Wow.
I've
in the
seen
inner
bus
city
drivers
routes.
on the phone. I'm like,
Absolutely.
Yep, I've seen it.
on the phone?
So they have to do a different screening for bus drivers in the
It's
school.
not even
And not in
that.
particular, I wouldn't mind you having. I had a bus driver, basically in the school district felt that they needed a certain kind of bus driver to go to certain communities, and this bus driver felt that he had to use certain language talking to certain children.
Oh,
They
wow.
would never do that in certain communities, but they feel this is part of that he can handle it.
That's what.
And that's why I feel
Wow.
we just need, if we're forced to go to Christiana, we need to get equal treatment.
Absolutely.
If y'all need to call my mother or somebody to tell me my bus is coming 2 hours late. Why would you have us sitting outside? Because we're high schoolers, because we live in the city. And I know it's just not my bus stop, but we have a bus stop over East Side. I see people on Snapchat or on Facebook or social media saying, my bus never came. And then you go home and talk to your mom and say, oh, my bus never came. No, you was doing this and the third. No, the bus never came.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
And then they don't believe you
And because the bus always
because
never
of the area. Yeah. Wow.
And it's like as soon as you call the school district and they got an attitude with you because I want to know if my bus is coming or not. Do I have to call every day to make sure my bus is coming?
So this is what we're dealing with, Wilmington. We have to come to grips with this. We have to do something in spite of how we feel about each other. We got to make this work because our kids are. You know, I have a concern with these gangs, weapons, because although it hasn't entered the school, it's going to. And we need to get control of it. We need to do something about it immediately, because if you have kids that are being killed in school, if you have kids that are being killed in the community may go into the school. So that's another thing we have to worry about. Like, do we even have metal detectors in the school? I know we have police officers, or SROs as they call them, school resources officers, but do we have the metal detectors? When I taught in Philly, we had those metal detectors, and before you come in, they checking you. Do we have that in Wilmington? And if we don't, should we? Do you feel safe in the classroom? Do you feel safe on the bus?
Yeah, pretty much. But that's because it's not a conflict between me and the people on my bus. Because if you think about it, like you said, we're being bused miles away. So us Wilmington kids, we got to stick together. If we're going to go there, we're going to stick together. And so when we go to school and you don't see us talking to a lot of Newark kids, it's because us as Wilmington kids, we're always it's no point to try to fit in with these Newark kids because we see them at school and then we go home. It's a different life. We live 2 different lives. There's no reason to get acquainted with someone that doesn't understand what I'm going through or with what I see every day after I come from school. So when I think of what we can do, they say the youth is the future.
Sure.
Yet they don't care about our opinions and how we think. When I called the school district to tell them my bus keeps coming late, they laughed at me. Not laughed, but
They didn't take it seriously.
threw it to the side. Oh, it is, well, we'll talk to them. But yet it came every day after that. Couple minutes late, couple minutes early, like, and you wonder why people miss the bus so much because you're not giving us a steady time to come. We don't know if the bus is gonna be late. I'm not sitting outside for 2 hours if it's 13 degrees. It's cold.
Sure.
They don't, and when the cops came after the shooting, it's like my school in Newark didn't even know. They didn't call and say, oh, well, is everything okay? The bus driver, no. So they just shot on the corner and we go to school like nothing happened.
So you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I was just curious. So I'm a little bit out of touch as far as high schools in the city of Wilmington. I know 2 that I can name, Howard High School and the military school.
It's not in Wilmington.
I'm sorry.
That's not it. Howard's the only high
That's
school.
Howard.
Howard's the only high school. So that's a problem.
Other than the
in
charter,
my
one
opinion, that's a
charter
problem.
store.
Because we pay in tax dollars. Why isn't there another high school in the city of Wilmington? Why?
And here's a question for me as a teacher. Okay, and I'm going to speak for teachers because some teachers you get along with, sometimes you don't. I get along with all my kids. But as a teacher, what can we do as educators to meet your need more?
Well, see, I've always had good teachers too. And I can honestly say since I've been in a class where it's only Newark kids and I'm the only kid coming on a Wilmington bus, they know if I'm late, it's usually because my bus is late. It's been times where my teacher been like, do I need to call up there? Like, because it's been so often and I've missed finals that I had to retake and it was my fault because I didn't come to school on time when it was the bus that came late. It's been times where my principal even spoke up and was like, I gotta call them every day. And it used to be I was mad at the school because y'all are marking me late. I got absences that I didn't have or tardies that I should have been here, but the bus never came. And I started getting mad at the school and I started talking to my principal about it, like she doesn't understand, but when really I had to think it's not them that runs the bus company. It's the district. She has to call the district to find out where our bus is, this, that, and the third. And it's been times when we came in late and she called them right there.
Let me ask you. So we have many churches in our community. So do you think as an option, like when that's happening, our churches can use the van to pick kids up to take them to the schools? I don't know, I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, I
Safety-
mean-
I don't know. We got to get
safety
you on.
liability, I don't see it happening because,
Okay.
you know, without parents signing some consent for their kid to be put on a bus. But the other thing that about my beautiful little sister here is not saying is that she is not your average kid. She has been on honor roll straight A ever since kindergarten, so she gonna stick out.
Sure.
Principals gonna know who she is, but
Awesome.
other kids who might not be that might not receive that teacher saying, "Why are you late?" They might get the other side. She getting this because of who she is. They gonna pay attention to her because I
Honestly,
guarantee you, regardless whoever's in her class, she's the smartest kid in every class she's in. I guarantee you that. So
Awesome.
she's gonna get that attention.
Yes, she is.
Well, speaking of which, since that's the case, are we talking about HBCUs or the counselors in the schools? How much are they promoting college?
They promote college
They
a lot.
do?
Well, at least in my
Okay,
group.
okay.
I'm in another girls group. We went on a college trip. We went to Delaware State, Del Tech, you know.
Okay.
We go to a lot of, they promote college.
Okay, good.
I wouldn't say they promote only HBCUs or something like that.
Sure.
But
So do you think we as college graduates should come into the school and promote colleges to the students?
yeah.
You think that we can, with the collaboration of community leaders, of people that are doing the right thing in the community to come into the schools? You think that should
I
happen
think that
more?
would be, yeah.
You think?
I think that we need to, you know, as community leaders, as individuals that live a life where, you know, it's looked at as success, we need to be more visible to our young people. They need to see more people that look like us to say, no matter what I'm going through, I see them and I know I can do it. I know that I can get above, you know, and I can go over the hill. I know I can come up against those circumstances that's been, again, placed in front of me. I can become that overcomer no matter what, because they did it, so can I. But we have to begin to be more visible. We, as there's so many of us that, you know, we obtain what it looks like as success, but we don't pass it along. We have to begin to speak, you know, into our children's lives. We have to begin to be there, not just tell them what to do. We have to begin to show them, you know, and that's just what it has to be. We have to be more instrumental in the lives of our young people. They need to see people like that look like them, love on them.
And we're going to wrap it up. I thank you all for coming on to the show and talking about what it is that you do and how we can positively impact our community, our students, our youth, the entire Wilmington, so that we can grow and so that we could just start living the quality of life that we deserve. I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for the HBCU Delaware Coalition. I thank God for all of you. Continue to do well in spite of. We have to, as a community, should try to do well in spite of how we feel about each other. That's the only way we're going to grow. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. God bless you. God keep you. That is my prayer.